All right. So today we're going to focus on extending that greeting app we made. Try to do something a little more complicated. And I don't know how many of you guys have heard of madLibs before. madLibs are a fad that was popular probably in the 80s when I grew up. And the idea is you have a template of a story with a lot of the words that are missing. And then you ask the reader to fill in a bunch of words at random. Say, give me a noun, give me a verb, give me another noun, give me an object, so on and so forth. Those words get plugged into the template, and then you end up with this really wacky, zany story that is endlessly fun to rearrange, in theory. This is what fun was like in the 80s. So, yeah, we're going to build one of those apps now, which I think is a good way to kind of expand upon the skills we already have. So looking at what we have in this project, you can see we actually have pretty much the basis of what we need. Okay, but the point is that we're just going to have to expand upon what we have. The idea is we're going to want to have several of these rows instead of just one row. And when the user hits go, the template will be greatly expanded from just what it is now. So I'm going to speed things up a little bit and just take a cut and pasted story template that I pre-composed and add it in here to our onPressed function. Remember, onPressed is the block of code that gets called when you hit the go button. And so what's going on here? Well, we have this template that is a string literal with interpolation, like you've learned. It's just that a lot of these variables are missing, right? person1.text. We haven't defined that yet. Adjective1.text, so on and so forth. And if you notice that there are these red stop signs with exclamation points in them, that's telling you that there's a syntax error. Okay, that means there's an error in your code that violates the grammar of Swift. So when people say that Swift is a programming language, it really is kind of like a language, like a spoken language is. There's a set of rules for the grammar, and the compiler adheres to this grammar strictly to be able to convert it into something sensible for the CPU to run. So anytime you see this red flag or this red stop sign, you know that you made a mistake at a syntax level. Okay. There's other kinds of bugs you can make as a programmer. For instance, in your logic, and those won't get caught generally by the compiler. And there may be errors in terms of how you handle different resources and so forth. But yeah, when you see that red flag, you know you need to fix something to even get your program to run. So this story template, what do we need to do? So for now, we're going to ignore those stop signs and just get on with filling out this program. The first thing we want to do is expand our list of text boxes or text fields. So what I'm doing is hitting Command and left click on each of these controls so that I can then copy using Command C. And now I'm hitting Command V to paste. So this allows me to quickly expand this. I'm gonna have to drag all this stuff down as well. Okay. But we need probably 6 or 7 of those guys. Oh. And you can see that Interface Builder really tries to help you out in terms of laying things out, but we don't really care that much about the visual side of the equation just yet. So we're gonna be a little sloppy, it's okay. Let's put 7 in just for safe measure. Okay. And now we have to go through and rename them. So the first one is person1. Next one, adjective1. Person1 again, we don't need to redefine. Past tense verb1. Past tense verb2. It doesn't really matter what order we do it in. Person2 I skipped, so let's put that in there. And looks like there's object1 and past tense verb3. So that was it. So 7 of them. And now we need to hook them up, as we did before, by control dragging. So this text field is now person1. By the way, this name text field should be deleted. We don't have that anymore. Adjective1. Past tense verb1. Be careful where you drag and drop on this thing. So past tense verb2. Person2. Okay, so it's complaining because we deleted greeting label, but we didn't kill this guy. So let's just destroy this for now. I don't really need that. And then object1. Past tense verb3. So you can see that those errors cleared up because we define these variables now, person1 and so forth. We're getting the values from the text property, and we'll talk about those later. We're basically getting the text strings from those text fields. And then we're plugging them into the story template. So at this point in the code, the story template, once the user types in all these things, hits go, whatever's inside these text fields will get substituted into the template, which is what we want. And so now all we have to do is display this. Thing is that this label only allows for a single line. So we want to have a multi-line version of label. And that is called a text field. So we'll drag and drop a text field and delete this other guy. Or excuse me, not text field, text area. Text view. Excuse me. And we'll just clear this text out. Move this up a little bit. All right, and now we need to connect this guy up. And set its text equal to the story template. All right, does this make sense? I think you know everything you need to know to see how it's plugged in and how the variables are getting set. So let's hit run and see if it does what we hope it will do. Okay, so there's an exception. What is going on? So an exception means there's an error that was caught during runtime. And generally when you see this window pop up, you should go to the very top and try to figure it out. Obviously, at this point in your development career, it's going to be tough to figure out what the heck's going on sometimes. But my advice is use Google. It's the most common error. Someone else has already run across it and can explain to you what's really going on. And so you see that this set value for undefined key, this class is not key value coding compliant for the name. So when you see this warning or this error, this class is not key value coding compliant for the key blah, blah, blah. This is a very common error, and it has to do with something not being in sync between your storyboard view and then your Swift code. And in particular, if you delete something or rename something without in your code, say, and you didn't update it in the storyboard, this can happen. So how do we fix this kind of problem? Well, let's take a look on this right-hand side. And we want to go to, first you click on this controller. And you want to go to the rightmost connections inspector. You'll see that for the most part, everything is solid, solid filled holes, which is what you want. That means everything's hunky-dory. But you'll see this object 1 is not, or excuse me, the name text field is not kosher at the moment. And sure enough, that's the field that's being complained about here. So what you can do is look at the error. When you mouse over it, view control does not have an outlet name text field. So that tells you that this outlet just is not getting created. So let's take a look at the code for the view controller. Object 1 is not getting created, even though the name text field is not getting created. Well, that's because we deleted it and we don't need it anymore. So all that happened really is we deleted it in the code, but we forgot to delete it in this interface builder as well. So now's our chance to rectify our error. Just look at this X here, just click on that, and it's gone. So that should make things better. Let's stop and then run again. Okay, great. So now we have a running version of what we hope we have. And let's just see how this works. So we click in. Person, Jack, adjective, crystal, and past tense verb, 8, another verb, sang, person 2, Athena, object 1, cars, shopped. Okay, let's just see what comes up from this. But Jack was feeling crystalline. All day long, Jack sang as usual. But it wasn't until Athena came that everything changed. Athena sang cars and shopped cars. Life would never be the same. So this did not do exactly what I was hoping for. We need another object in there. Okay, but basically that works, and so you get the idea of what's going on.